intelligence general.
Right. I've
You
reported that.
guys, oh yes, yes, yes. That is, I think, true. But there's another point. First of all, these guys are racing for this so-called martyrdom and death. So, first of all, this won't damage the IRGC as an organization. And let me just give you a number. I think we have, it goes in the hundreds or even in the thousands of IRGC generals in Iran. And the reason for that is that this country has been in war for a long time. So killing these generals won't really affect anything. I don't know if you guys remember, like a year or 2 years ago, the Iranian president got killed in an accident. Nothing happened after that, really. So killing generals is news for Israel. It's worth news headlines, but it just won't, I don't know, collapse the chain of command.
And
All
if
of
you
these
haven't,
generals.
Just some more breaking news, guys. The tweet is in the nest. Some breaking news, and it says this that here we go. Protesters against the war in Israel are being arrested. A silent protest against the war and in favor of peace and negotiations is met with violent police and activists calling for death and bloodshed. Calling against.
Wait, Suleiman, I thought that was the only democracy in the Middle East, though.
yeah, an
Did you also
apartheid
hear?
democracy based upon an ethno
Did,
supremacy.
Four people have been arrested.
yeah. Did you also hear about some of the Israeli soldiers on foot leaving the occupied part of Gaza? The
Wearing
part of
diapers.
Gaza. What is it?
Wearing diapers as well in the settlements.
So you did hear about that? I saw a video on that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear about that. No.
Yeah. They were leaving on foot, and some people were trying to stop them, like Israelis on the side of the Israeli, whatever territory. But so anyways, they were on foot and they were leaving. And then another news broke that Netanyahu, I guess maybe decided to pull out some of the forces from that region and put them closer to Lebanon and Syria. And I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I do love, excuse me, just to go back to it, Amir Dayush, sorry, I'm tongue-tied for some reason today. Amir Dayush was talking about with, thank you, with the Western perspective of somebody in high-ranking military being assassinated and what's happening literally in the culture, in the military culture, in the unfortunate recipient of constantly being attacked culture of Iran, and how, and we've heard this over and over again here today, that literally for them it's like a badge of honor, that it's a rush to martyrdom because they're glorified, because they believe in whatever it is they're doing, etc. I don't want to speak for you, Amir Dariush, but would you like to continue with what you were explaining?
Thanks, خیلی متشکرم. First of all, let me just
before you go,
okay,
Amir,
okay.
let me just quickly give some updates and then I'll give the mic right back to you. Turkish President Erdogan reiterates diplomacy is the only way to resolve a nuclear dispute, expresses Ankara's readiness to make every effort, including facilitation. Turkey President Erdogan and Trump discussed Israel-Iran conflict, bilateral ties, and regional issues over the phone. Turkish President welcomes Trump's recent remarks on ending Israel-Iran conflict, stressing need for urgent action to prevent disasters that could escalate in the region. Netanyahu told Fox News, I launched the attack on Iran because we were facing an imminent threat. Netanyahu on the hostage deal, I gave a hostage deal. He said, I gave instructions to advance the talks. I recognize a loophole. I don't know what that he's talking about there. Israel currently isn't interested in a ceasefire because it still hasn't implemented all of its objectives. And then there is a report that suggests that Brigadier General Mohammad Kazemi, head of the intelligence organization of the IRGC, as well as Deputy General Hassan Muhakkik, are trapped beneath the rubble of the IRGC intelligence headquarters in Tehran.
That was that building that went down.
Yeah, this follow declare. Yeah, so that's that one. And then let me just give some more news. Someone jump in while I get the other bits of news up.
Yeah, before we continue, real quick, everyone who's tuned in right now, hit the repost button, share this space as much as you possibly can because this is just starting to get lit. It started a couple hours ago, really to pick up the pace. We really started getting news coming in, but now we're getting a lot of news coming in. As you hear, Suleiman Ahmed, the main host, make sure you hit that follow button as well. He's the guy in the suit. Once you get to your screen, scroll up a little bit, you're gonna see a guy in the suit. Hit the follow button
Top left
expeditiously. We
corner.
need to get Suleiman to 1 million followers. Absolutely, yeah. We have to get Suleiman to 1 million followers. He's been censored badly, so help us push the space as much as possible by following him and then hitting the repost button as much as possible. We should be at like 6,000 reposts already. We're only at 3,000. We need to get to
And if
6,000
you've already
reposts
reposted,
at minimum.
unrepost and re-repost.
Absolutely, guys. So do that and tune in because there's a lot more news incoming.
Thank you so much. And please follow Khaleesi as well. And Mofit, Simon, Truth Teller, Nathan, everybody who's up here on the panel has been absolutely amazing. بفرمایید بازم.
100%. Everyone on the panel has been amazing. I appreciate
Should we
it.
go
The
back
quality of the
to
spaces because of the
finishing
panel.
that what Amir Dayush was trying to say?
I just want to give this bit of news and then there's a lot. It's so much news coming out. So this is according to the Iranian media, a large truck and a smaller truck carrying small drones were stopped in the city of Maran by the valiant security forces. Axios are reporting that an Israeli official said there are currently no serious diplomatic initiatives because it has not yet achieved its goals. We also have okay, there's another one here. Let me just quickly post this one. The tweet in the nest about the General Khazemi and his deputy. Furthermore, you have it that
got a quick update as well after.
yeah, awesome. Let's go to this one. You got Mark Levine, the Zionist in the US, asking for Israel to finish the job. Netanyahu said, "Our wonderful pilots are above the skies of burning Tehran. We are determined to complete the mission of removing the dual threat." Israel PM Prime Minister Netanyahu also said, "It's very possible that our attack will lead to the fall of the Iranian regime." Israeli security forces published a video showing how they deal with Palestinian prisoners who celebrate the Iranian attacks on Israel. You can see the level of abuse that's going on. Well, I'll post it. You'll be able to see it when I do. Netanyahu confirms Iranian intelligence chief killed. This is Trump. Trump allegedly vetoed Israel's plan to eliminate Khamenei. What's this one? Iran's chief of police, General Radan, said, "If you have rented your property or house to a company for a short term or long term in the past few months, either conventionally or unconventionally under the guise of a residential unit, be sure to report the matter to the police 1110 immediately. Collaborators could be in your residence." Fire in the occupied territories. Someone said, "How many missiles does Israel?" This is according to Israeli news, Haaretz. Apparently, they believe that Iran has at least 1,000 missiles.
That's a good joke.
Yeah. This is according to Israeli media. Okay, this one here. The public relations of the Ansar al-Mahdi Corps of Zanjan announced the defense system of Zanjan Corps shot down 2 hostile enemy drones over the airspace of its province hours ago. Netanyahu said, "I believe that Iran was completely surprised by our attacks, and surprise is a great element of success. We destroyed the Isfahan reactor, and without it, nuclear weapons cannot be achieved. The assassination of Hassan Nasrallah was part of a dismantling the Iranian axis, and we achieved that through surprise. Our attack on Iran will end when we eliminate its nuclear capabilities, and we will do that." 2 sources to Reuters agency said Trump used veto power against any Israeli plan to eliminate Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Netanyahu to Fox News said, "We shared intelligence information with the United States showing that Iran is rushing towards obtaining a nuclear bomb and it could have achieved it within months. We will not allow the Jewish people to go through another Holocaust, a nuclear Holocaust. We chose to act because we saw that Iran has enough enriched uranium to make 9 nuclear bombs, and all that remains is the weaponization process. Our intelligence shows that Iran wanted to transfer these bombs to the Houthis and other proxy armies affiliated with it. Iran also planned to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, which threaten the entire world." Um, there are claims that the IRGC general has been eliminated through gunfire, close range gunfire. Israeli agents are operating on the ground in Tehran. 13 people were arrested for collaborating. And that's it. Really, that's the latest news. Did who else had made latest news?
I think
Amir.
Right here.
Suleiman, on that news from Israel, that it just goes to show Israel does not want to stop this anytime soon, especially Netanyahu's administration. They want this to go as long as possible because they do not want to be kicked out of their political positions and power. So you can hear that with the news that Suleiman just said. When they say, "Oh, this isn't going to end until the nuclear."
Mashhad Airport is significant. I mean, it's 2,300 kilometers from Israel. I mean, again, that shows the reach of the Israelis' power and how they do that. But having said that, and but to Craig's point, I understand the argument. But again, let's remember that the first time that Iran conducted a strike into Israel, the reason why Iran did that is because the Israelis bombed the Iranian embassy in Damascus, and they were targeting a commander that was underneath, that was a part of a specific unit within the IRGC Quds force. And I think that the problem I think people are realizing is there's the big public names like the IRGCIO, the IRGASF commander, and all that. And yes, those are the key leaders. But don't underestimate the power of these mid-level commanders and these unit commanders subordinate to them. And I think Israel is taking the opportunity to execute these attacks and within the chaos to knock out as many people as possible, because you can knock out a leadership they can replace, but if you start going down the chain of command, that's when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, but
There's actually there are two targets I also posted in the nest. One of them was the Ministry of Justice, and the other one was the intelligence office in Tehran. So it's not just low-level targets. Like as Citrep, I think Citrep is completely correct.
But we have
So just
real
Craig,
quick,
just one
James.
second,
James,
Craig,
hold 1
Craig,
second.
just a second. No. Some breaking news, please. So let's just to re-put everything in perspective. Since this morning and after the first 2 days, where we've seen a lot of assassinations and mostly military targets being hit, we've started seeing different type of missions and missions that not missions but attacks that target other low, mid, and high level individuals inside of the Iranian infrastructure from the Israelis. We've seen strikes on the headquarters of the intelligence IRGC in the Iranian capital. We've seen multiple attacks on supply route airports. So today we've got reports from 3 or 4 airports being hit, and while those airports being hit, some of them contained air refueling tankers and other military equipment. We've also got information of attacks on direct attacks on the nuclear enrichment centers, and we're still seeing attacks on the same 3 or 4 nuclear enrichment center. What we've seen also surprising is that Israel has attacked 2 oil refineries or oil containment hubs and some chip factories. So it's also hitting a blow to the military industrial complex at its beginning, so that Iran can't replenish the rockets. That's the news that we have right now. It's actually really a situation of war, as Voice stressed. In Israel, anytime there is a rocket, people have to run back to the shelters, and there is hits that are happening, and those rockets are going in big volume. So we're seeing first night around 300 rockets based on the IRGC. Yesterday around 150 to 200.
James, 70 rockets yesterday.
Based to the IRGC.
Oh,
150 based on the IRGC. If we go to the Israelis, it's 100 for the first night and 70 on the second night, with strokes that reached 4 or 5 locations within the 2 days. We are in a dire situation. Just to trap one last question for you. What do you think about specifically the fact that Donald Trump asked not to strike, not to kill Khamenei. Do you think he still hopes for a deal to happen quickly, or is it a way for him to ensure, let's say, a possible regime change?
Yeah, so what I would say, James, just first thing quickly, I mean, I would be very cautious. I mean, maybe the IRGC is releasing names for the local audience and all that, but I mean, there's probably truth in both because, again, people need to remember not all ballistic missiles launched are going to reach Israel. There's going to be in-flight failures and they're going to go, but I don't want to divulge that much into the point. I think if this reporting is true and again, it's coming, that we shared it and all that, and if it's confirmed, I think the Israeli plan then was probably to do a decapitation strike similar to Lebanon, to Hezbollah, which would have caused mass paralysis in the Iranian command and control. But what I think Trump then did, the reason, I think this goes back to the original point where Trump is leveraging Israel to do America's dirty work so that then they can get into a nuclear deal. So I think what President Trump is saying is, to Israel. I mean, Israel, I think Benjamin Netanyahu would be loved nothing more than just the fall of the Islamic Republic. And I think President Trump is, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that. That's way too much for us in the Middle East. Let's get into a nuclear agreement. So if you kill the supreme leader, that at that point is a done deal. And if anything, there was also kind of a concern maybe, again, probably from the U.S. point of view, is that they would get drawn in. And I think here's the key aspect, and I mentioned this earlier, and I'll just highlight it quickly